Now, after logging into the app, the first thing you want to do is download any allocated inspections. So to do that on Android, you are going to use this circular arrow button at the top right hand corner. So whenever you tap on that button, it will download any inspections that you or your main administrator has allocated to your user. So I'm currently logged in with a specific user and 4 inspections has been allocated to that user. Oh, sorry, 3. So as you can see, I've tapped this button and all 3 of my inspections have now downloaded to my device. Now, as we've explained in the videos on allocating inspections, there are basically 3 starting points for an inspection. You can either start clean, or you can use the property defaults as a starting point, or you can use a previous inspections data as a starting point. And I've got an example of all 3 here, so let's start working through these. So if I tap on this first inspection, Merlot Place 50, it will open the inspection details for me. So this is where I can see all of the details of the property address, the date and time of the inspection, and if it was available, the landlord and the tenant details, so I can easily make contact directly from here. Now in Android, you can tap this icon on the left hand side to go directly to your maps, or you can tap on this icon to add it directly to your calendar, and the same here, so you can use this to send an email, use that to open your calling, and so on. Now, at the bottom, you'll see there's 3 options: images, sign here, and checklist. And you always want to start at the right-hand bottom corner, because we want to first populate our checklist, record all of the conditions of the items, and then we can review the images and get the tenant signature. So let's go into our checklist. And what you'll notice, because this is the inspection where we selected Start Clean as the option when we allocated the inspection, there's no areas added to this inspection yet. However, to do it on the device is super simple, and all you need to do is tap on this plus icon at the bottom right hand corner, and then type in your area name. And then you can specify whether you want to select a default set of checks that you've set up on a company level to create those items for you. So you can switch that on or off. In this case, I'm going to leave it on, and I'm going to select Basic Kitchen as my set of checks that I want to populate. So then if you click Add, it will add the kitchen for you. And if I go into the kitchen, you'll note it already has a set of checks that I can conduct. And that's because I switched it on that it must populate those items for me. So let's add another area. We just type the name, and you can use the options that pop up, or you can type in your own name if the option you're looking for is not available in the list. Living room, and I'm going to use the basic area template set for that. Just click on Add, and there I have my area, and within the area it already has those checks for me. Let's add one more. And it's as simple as that. So that's how you can populate your areas and items directly on the app if you selected the Start Clean option when allocating the inspection. Okay, so let's now have a look at how you can populate these checklists. So if I tap on the kitchen to go into that area, you can see that all of the checks are still empty and no conditions have been recorded for any of the items. So to record a condition, you start right at the top, tap in the middle of the ceiling option, and that will expand a list of toggles. Now you can use any combination of these toggles, and you can select one option from each row. And the first row has to do with the cleanliness of the item, the middle row has to do with any damage, and the last row has to do with the functioning of that specific item. So in this case, let's say the ceiling is clean and undamaged. So you just tap clean, you tap undamaged, and you're done with this item. You can tap it again to close it, or you can tap directly on the one below it and it will automatically close the ceiling then. Now in this case, let's say the ceiling is, the lights are faulty. And maybe it's a bit greasy from the dust that was collected. So we say greasy. There's no damage, so we're just going to leave that empty, or you can say undamaged. But it's not working, so let's select not working. And maybe now you want to add another description to specify why it's not working. So you want to add a comment. Now you can use the speech bubble at the bottom, top right hand corner of that item to add more comments. Now, as you can see, we provide a huge list of comment options here for you. And the first set before this separator is always the comments that are related to the item that you're currently busy with. So in this case, we are on lights. So as you can see, all of these first comments before the separator has something to do with lights. So let's say the bulb was blown, and that's why it's not working. And you can also select multiple comments by just tapping on them like that. And you can also type in your own custom comment by just putting your selector in the field and then starting to type. If you want to clear everything, you just tap on the cross, and there we go. So I'm just going to select bulb blown, tap save, and there we have our comment. And lastly, to add a recommendation in terms of who needs to repair this item, you can tap on this little spanner and hammer icon, which will bring up some options for you to say the tenant needs to clean or needs to repair, or the landlord needs to repair, or you can even select other and then type in your own option there. In this case, let's say the tenant is supposed to replace this. So I'm just going to select tenant to replace, and now I can continue to the next item. So I tap on walls, and that expands the walls item. So let's say the walls are dirty and there's some wear and tear, and this last one is not applicable, so we leave that empty. And let's say there's some cracks and the paint is fading from smoking, but now we want to take some pictures to demonstrate this. So what we do is we tap on this camera icon, and the first time you do this, you're going to get some permission questions. So you just say allow, and then you just tap on this icon again, and that's going to expand the camera. Okay, so to take a photo, you simply tap on the camera icon again, and then if you're happy with the photo, you just click OK. And then it's going to bring up an option where you can crop the picture, because all of the photos in the report that you're going to generate is going to be square. So by default, we suggest that you use the square images, and you can crop a section of the photo if you want. Alternatively, you can select this use full option in the top right hand corner, and then it's just going to warn you that uncropped pictures may look a little bit warped, as the aspect ratio won't be square when you generate the report. They don't look that bad, so you can use full, for instance, when you are taking pictures of a cupboard and so on. But in this case, I want to crop it, so I'm just going to set my area, tap on crop, and that's going to save my photo. Now, if you want to take more photos, you just tap on this camera icon again, take your photo, and then set your area and tap on crop. And that's how you take photos. So now if we go to the next item, let's say the light switches are clean. Maybe there's a little bit of damage, so we want to take a photo of that as well. So this is how you would go about recording the conditions of each item. I'm going to quickly finish this and fast forward it so you don't have to watch me. Alright, so I've finished completing all the conditions of my items. Now if I tap on the back arrow, I can go into the next area. So I open living room, and I repeat the same process for each area. Okay, now I'm in the living room, and let's say there's an item that was not in my standard list that I selected. For instance, a mirror. So if you want to add an item on a room level that was not in your main list, you can do that by simply selecting this plus icon at the top right hand corner, specifying the name of your item. So you can once again select from the list, or just completely type in your name there. Tap on add, and there we have our area. So now I can say the mirror is dirty, some wear and tear, and I can take a photo of that. And there we go. Now, to delete an item that's in the area that's maybe not relevant, let's say this room doesn't have skirtings, for instance. On Android, you simply long tap the item, and that will bring up the option where you can either edit the name, or you can tap on the delete button to delete the item. Now just note that if you deleted all the photos related to that item within this area is going to be deleted. So I just tap yes. And let's do the same for the light. Let's say for the locks and keys. Let's assume there's no locks and keys. So we just tap delete. So that's how you would manually add and delete items from a room that's already got a pre-populated checklist. So once I'm done completing all the items in all the areas of this inspection, I come back to the home screen of the inspection. And now I can tap on the images to see all of the photos that I've taken. And then I can type in some general comments. Let's say the tenant something like that. Tenant requested DSTV installation. So any comments you want to make that don't fit into an item or an area. And now I'm ready to have the tenant sign. So you tap on sign here, and this will bring up the signature screen. Now here you can also tap on the review button, and you can see an overview of the entire inspection before the tenant signs. So where there's photos, you can tap on the photo icon to see the photos that was taken. And you can quickly review the entire inspection with the tenant so that he knows exactly what he is signing for. And once you're happy with that, you can come back to this screen and then just make sure that the person who signs the inspection, that person's name is actually inserted here. So in this case, it is Jenny Smith, so I'm just going to leave it at that. But you can see if I change it here, it also updates it on the signature itself. So if it's someone else signing the inspection, just type in the name of the signatory there. And then you can go ahead and sign the inspection. And then it's very important, you need to tap on save in the bottom right hand corner to actually save that signature. Otherwise, when you navigate away, it's going to delete that signature. So then also with the landlord and tenant, with the landlord and agent, if the agent is signing on behalf of the landlord, you can take the agent's signature there and just make sure that the agent's name is typed in there. If the landlord is present, obviously you can let the landlord sign, but you also don't need the landlord or agent signature in order to upload the inspection. You don't need any signatures to upload the inspection if you don't have the people present. So I'm just going to take the tenant signature for now, and then I go back to the main screen of my app, and the first time I'm using the app, I'll get a notification to just tell me how to upload the inspection. And so to do that, all you need to do is tap on this upload icon. So let's do that now. And then it just wants you to confirm whether you want to upload, and you tap on yes. And then you'll see a message queued for upload, and it's going to start to upload first the inspection details, then all of the items, and then it's going to start uploading your photos one by one. And you should be able to see some progress as the photos are uploading. It will show you photo 1 of 10 and so on. Now, I also want to just simulate a scenario where you lose your internet connection. So if you have a drop in your internet connection for whatever reason, or maybe poor signal or something like that, you might sometimes have the inspection upload fail, and then it will look like this. It will say upload failed, tap upload to retry. So if I restore my connection, then all you need to do is tap on the red upload icon again, and it will resume the upload where it stopped. Now, once the upload completes, you'll see that that inspection is then moved from the Scheduled tab to the Completed tab. There we go. So now if I tap on my Completed tab here, you can see that I can see the inspection there. And also note that when I open the inspection there, you cannot edit anything on the device afterwards. You can just review everything that was recorded. So if I go back to Scheduled, now I've got my other two inspections there. Now the only difference between using Start Clean and using the property defaults, if you have them set up, is that if I go into the second inspection where I selected Use Property Defaults and I open my checklist, it will already have a predefined checklist for me because I've set that up for the property. So I won't need to add the areas and the items on the device. That is basically the only difference. And then lastly, the third inspection that I allocated, I selected use previous inspection as baseline. So this one is a bit different. If I go into it, you'll see that it also has the areas and the items. But if I enter an area, you'll see that all the conditions are now already defined because this was copied from a previous inspection. So in this case, all you would need to do is confirm if the condition of each item is still the same. And you can do that by tapping on this little check mark on the left-hand side of each item. So if the floors are still dirty and has wear and tear, you just tap on that icon, and that basically just confirms that the condition is still the same. Now, if you want to change the condition of any item, you simply open the item, change it to dirty and damaged, and you're done. And you can take photos, make comments, everything that you can do with a normal inspection. The only difference is you get the benefit of not having to redo everything, since most of the items might still be in the same condition. So you only make the changes where necessary, maybe take a couple of new photos. And then go on to your next area and so on. Now I also just want to point out that if you did copy this from a previous inspection, for instance, if I open the floors, you'll see that it already has photos. And if I open that, it will download a thumbnail of the original photo. And any photos that have been copied will indicate that with that little copy icon at the bottom right-hand corner of the photo thumbnail. Now, if a photo is not relevant anymore, or if it's a photo that you took and that you realized you don't want in this inspection, and you can easily delete the photo that is not relevant anymore, or any new photo even that you just took and are not happy with, by just opening the photo. So you tap on it, and then you tap on the little dustbin at the top right-hand corner, and that's going to give you an option to delete that photo. So as you can see, it's very easy to reuse data from a previous inspection. So that way, you really get the benefit of only having to do one proper inspection for a property, and then going forward, you can always reuse that data and only note the changes from the previous inspection. And that is the basics of how you would do an inspection on the Android inspection app.